Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fussy Cut Crafts. My name is Adrian. I hope everyone had a good weekend, a restful weekend. Hopefully, you're lucky and you even maybe have an extended weekend or you're on vacation now. So you can really just have a chance to relax. I'm so worn out, guys. I may have said this before, but I'm never going to get to this far into the year again without taking at least one full week off of work. Um, but I'm back to making journals and trying to figure out easy ways to do that. And I ordered a scarf from Amazon. And when I got it, it arrived in this sort of scrapbook paper thickness envelope, which had four sides to it, which were all the same size. And each side had what was kind of like the equivalent of a spine, a very thin spine, probably probably smaller than a fourth of an inch. But after looking at it, because I figured I was going to save it because you saw me open it up there, but it's it was covered in a nice floral pattern. I thought I was going to just save it for my junk journal. But then when I really looked at it and saw that basically each side had a spine, I thought, I could turn this into like a weird, different kind of journal, which just has one signature per side. So a signature at the top, one at the bottom, and one on the left and one on the right side. And that's what I did. Before I turned the camera on, I put together signatures. You saw me flip through them there of some just magazine pages, pages from an old Amazon holiday catalog, and some of my jelly prints, which I made these almost 2 full years ago and haven't used most of them because I didn't know what I was gonna do with them until I decided to start making journals. So I thought it would be a good idea to finally pull those out and start using some of them. So what you see me doing here is trying to line up the edge of of this first signature with the center of the first spine, and I'm just using my stapler. Guys, that's why I got my red swing line stapler because it opens all the way up. The oldest stapler I had at home was a really tiny one, which did not open up. And I didn't want to buy one of those long arm staplers because they cost so much money. Why do they cost so much money? Those long arm staplers cost like $35 or more. And I didn't feel like spending that much on one. So I got a cute red Office Space adjacent swing line stapler, which opens all the way up. And I did a pretty good job lining these things up. Now, it's not perfect, but this journal is one that I made for my friend June and her birthday, which was surprise, surprise in June. So I'm past due to make her journal and send it to her, and she'll be forgiving. She's a kind of a crafty, arty person too, and she knows I've started making journals. I sent one to our friend Andrea in May. So she'll be forgiving of the fact that, these are not, the spines aren't perfectly lined up um, with the center of each signature. But I still think I did a pretty good job with this because I was really just winging it after I saw the packaging and really took a good look at it. You can kind of see the spine on the other side there, how thin it is. Now, each signature, oh, I think I put in 6 pages. I think I put in 6 pages, and they're not all the same length. I just wanted them to not be so long that they would overlap the edge of like the edge of the part of the envelope that was opposite it, so that I wouldn't be over like folding the pages over multiple times, because the whole envelope, even though it's big when you open it up, there's not a lot of actual space inside of it. So I didn't want to overstuff it, especially since I don't know what she's going to do with it. I don't know if she's going to just write in it or put pictures in it or, tape things in there or what. So I didn't want it to be too too stuffed, but still wanted her to have enough pages to play with in there. So six, yeah, six. It was 6 pages per signature, and of course, she has the back and front of each one. And as you can see there, I mean, this is a nice pattern that this envelope was made out of. And like I said, it was kind of like a thicker, like a medium thickness scrapbook paper, basically. So it seemed like it would be perfect for something like this. And it really did turn out well. So well, in fact, that instead of, I mean, I did obviously put her journal in there and I'm going to send it off to her tomorrow. I did actually I traced the outside of the envelope, which was hard to do because it's so long. It was hard for me to find magazine pages long enough to trace the whole thing without having to like attach pages to each other. But I traced it so that I can trace it on other stuff and basically copy this envelope so that I can do this kind of journal again. And what you see me doing here, and I needed something to staple on because even though it does open up, I didn't want to just staple right on my dining table, because even though I've got like some padding and stuff on it, I didn't want to take a chance that I would actually staple through all that into my dining table and then have to pry staples out or whatever. So I layered up these two cardboard envelopes that I had from other scarves that I bought on Amazon. I've been shopping. I don't know if you can tell, but I've been shopping. It was Prime Day recently, as you probably, or Prime Week or whatever they call it recently. But those two came in two other envelopes that I'm probably going to put other journals in. Um, so I just layered those up and stapled on top of there. And I mean, it worked. It kept me from going through any of the padding or stuff that I've got on top of my dining table. I did have to very carefully pry the envelopes away from the journal I was making. And then you saw me with that. How far are we into this? It looks like I've done two of the signatures with, I had to go each time, and after prying those envelopes away from the signatures, the staples that I put in the signatures, I then had to turn it back over and fold down the prongs of the staples. But I just took the end of a gel pen and did that, and it was pretty easy. And it turned out well. I was very happy with this whole process. Um, if you can make your own envelope out of some relatively thin cardstock or something, you could do this same thing and make a journal like this with a signature on each side. And as you can see, there's the flaps that help it close or whatever, but the part where I stapled the signatures in, those are essentially just two squares, which are probably, I don't know, maybe 6-inch square or something like that, 6 to 8 probably. And then you just give yourself a little bit of a spine. And of course, if you're coming up with this envelope shape on your own, you can give yourself a thicker spine than the one I worked with this pre-made scarf envelope, which obviously didn't have to be that thick anyway because there was just a scarf in there. And that way you'll be able to add some more pages if you want. And you can see me here just again folding those prongs down for the staples. I have to say I wouldn't be mad at making a lot of journals like this. So I'm really glad that I had the idea to go ahead before sending it off of tracing the outer edge of this envelope so I can kind of cobble it together myself out of some light cardboard or something. Probably something like a cereal box. When you cut one end open would be long enough to accommodate the whole shape, but still be thin enough that I could actually fold it without too much trouble. Because you couldn't use, well, you could probably if you had, I don't know, maybe one of those scoring boards or something. It would probably be easy if you had a thicker cardboard. But I feel like anything thicker than a cereal box would probably be difficult to have a nice crisp fold, especially if you don't have a scoring board. So probably best to stick with one of those. So I'll try it eventually. I'll try it and see how that works. So one of the things I've been working on over here, I skipped a week posting. So this video I actually made the week prior to when it's coming out. And one of the things I'm working on is trying to figure out how to make the downloading and uploading process a lot faster. Because right now, I gotta say, guys, it is slow as fuck and very. I'm kind of prepared for it now, but it's still really frustrating to have it take as long as it does. Just once I film the video, I like to it automatically because I film on my phone. And I got a new phone, by the way. I thought that it would help with this. And it doesn't really seem like it has. Things automatically get saved to my like Google Photos, my videos when I take them automatically get backed up there. But just that part of the process, getting the videos to back up to Google Photos fully so that I can then start editing and adding whatever I'm going to add to them, that takes forever. If the video is longer than like 10 minutes, we're talking, especially if I do anything else with my internet. If I'm streaming TV or YouTube or listening to a podcast or listening to music or anything, we're talking about like a 20-30 minute video taking a full 24 hours just to fully back up to my Google Photos. Now, I did clear my cache, so I'm hoping that helped. But honestly, I filmed this video and then I was like, I'm just not going to do anything with it I'm just not going to do anything at all for a couple of days because if I keep looking at it, it will just frustrate me. So I did it and then just didn't try to do I filmed the video and then just didn't try to do anything else with it because I knew I would be annoyed. But it did take, from what I can see, it did take about a full day. And then after it was fully backed up, I made another video, which I hope I'll be able to get posted later this week. And if I remember correctly, it's not as long as this one. So I still have to see if the okay, not the getting it backed up to Google Photos part, but the adding the audio track and then getting it all edited and then getting the edited video downloaded to my computer. That also takes quite a while, usually like 4 or 5 hours. It might be the editing program I'm using. Maybe it's just the free program that came with my laptop. Maybe it's not that great, but I'm getting used to using it. So I'm not going to stop using it. Plus, it was free. So if there's no way to make that faster, there's just no way to make that faster. And then, of course, I have the final uploading the video from my computer to YouTube, which also takes a really long time. That's been taking usually around 6, 7 hours. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or if this is just, or if my internet is slower and worse than I think it is, or if this is something pretty much everybody goes through where your videos just take forever if they're any length at all to get backed up and downloaded and uploaded. But it is what it is. You really can't do too much arguing with free. So, like I said, I'm trying to just do the thing and accept what is and not get frustrated because life is too short to get frustrated by doing free videos for YouTube. Too short. Okay, what you see me doing here is since I stapled face down, the center of each signature is where the prongs were for the staples. And even though I folded them all down, I wanted to kind of cover those up so it would at least, not that it looks terrible. I mean, I'm sure we've all looked at booklets or whatever that have staples in the center, but I just thought to, dress it up a little bit. So I took 4 different types of blue toned washi tape. It's another thing I have that I need to stop hoarding and use up. And just put some glue on it, obviously, because washi tape, the whole point is that it's removable and I want it to stay there. So I just put some of my Scotch permanent glue stick on the back and put a different strip of washi tape down the center of each signature to cover those staples up. And there's still plenty of room, for my friend to use each signature to use the center of each signature to take notes or draw or do whatever she's going to do with it. Part of the fun of doing this has been finding ways to use up all this stuff I've been collecting and, like I said, hoarding. So, it's not just the magazine pages, catalog pages, random packaging. Um, the other video I made last week, I had some, how when you buy like a frozen meal or something, there's the cardboard box that it comes in. I had kept some of those and they'd been sitting on my dining table, which is my art desk basically. I had them folded up and sitting on my table for a year probably and hadn't used them for anything yet. So I just finally took them out and used some of them to make a little journal. And you're gonna see that in the other video I made that I'm gonna get up later in the week. But it's a good this has been a good opportunity to finally really dig in and use up some of my stuff, because just doing things for myself, doing the junk journal and regular journaling, which I used to do a lot of decorative journaling, and I haven't done that since, ooh, early October last year, 2024, which is its own, like, that's a whole thing why I stopped doing that. But I still want to get back into that. But even when I was doing that on a regular basis and doing the glue booking and collage and all that kind of stuff, the amount of stuff I've collected does not compute with the arty projects that I do on my own just for me. So making things that I could either give away or sell is the only way I'm going to be able to control the amount of paper and glue and tape and other things stickers and other things I've accumulated. And of course, now, because I've been watching a lot of other people on YouTube make journals, and I see how they make them, and they have charms, and there's spangles and sparkles and glitter and all these things all over the place. And so it has led to me collecting even more stuff and branching out and starting to buy things like beads. And I got some metallic confetti. It's just circles of different sizes. It's pretty iridescent confetti, which I can either use for collage or I can use in putting these journals together. My point is I'm still collecting stuff. And if I don't use some of this stuff for things that I give away or sell, I'm just going to be weighed under by the amount of stuff in my house. And I'm really trying not to do that. Um and it's difficult because I like pretty things. I like things that sparkle. I like glittery things. That's me, just as you can see there, bringing the camera in a little bit closer so you can take another look at the signatures here. Now they're all in the book. And I was going to try to have fold each page so that all the signatures kind of overlapped, one page at a time, but that felt too complicated and unnecessary and maybe confusing. So I just went ahead and laid each signature down and just had each signature fold on its own. So, the top signature is all folded together and it's laying on top of, I don't know, the bottom signature, which is laying on top of the right signature, which is laying on top of the left signature, or something like that. I can't remember the order I put them in, but I didn't do the thing where each page of each signature kind of overlaps in a weird order or whatever. It just seemed like that might get too confusing, not just in putting it together, but when my friend is trying to use it, if she tries to keep it in the same order. So this just felt like a much better option. So let me know when you guys are buying, or when you, not even necessarily when you buy them, because you might make your own. When you make your own, or when you watch other people make journals, what styles do you like? Do you like it when they're super trashy and super junky? Do you like a lot of giant charms and things hanging off of them? Do you like spangles? Do you like glitter? Do you like um if and I did get an awl, which is one of those pokey things that people use to so they can sew signatures into journals. And I've seen people, since you do that with string and tie it together, I've seen people put beads on those strings and things. Do you like stuff like that? Or do you like, because I am also a collector of ephemera and stickers and things like that, I kind of prefer not overdoing it when I'm making a journal, because I want the person who gets it to be able to add a lot of their own stuff to it. Because that's part of the point. It would seem like if you get something and there's so much stuff in it that you can't really, I feel like I would be intimidated by that and wouldn't want to use it, because I wouldn't want to cover up a lot of cool stuff that's already in this journal, right? I don't know. I can see where there'd be different, just like with everything else, there'd be people who like different types, and maybe even, some people, you like to get the journal where it looks like it's completely finished, but you also sometimes like to have a journal that's got more room in it for you to just add your own stuff to it. And one of the things I did here, since I did use quite a few pages with that already had writing or whatever on them, I went ahead and gave her some blank pages that she can add in. And I used one of my embossed, just a junk mail envelope, and I tied it all in there nicely. And I'm going to go get some string so I can tie it up, because I wanted something a little more special than the black ribbon that was in there to tie everything up. And there's that envelope I embossed. Turned out really nice. All right, I'll be back. Okay, guys, I went and I got some string. Well, not string, yarn that I got from that I got from Joann's before it closed. This is the second time I've tried to record this this voiceover for this video. Hopefully it actually works this time. I don't know what happened. I recorded the uh the voiceover for the first part of the video just fine. And then I tried to record this and I thought I had done it, and the little the app I use to edit and record voiceovers was just still going and wouldn't let me close out of it. So we'll see. I'm getting this done a lot later than I was planning to, but hopefully this works now. Okay, so I've got some pretty yarn that I think kind of matches the cover of what is now a journal for my friend. Um, and I twisted it, and now I'm just tying the end together to try to keep it from being too, yeah, some loose yarn kind of fell out there at the end. Um, but I want to try to make sure it doesn't just unravel completely over time. So I put a knot in the end there. And now I'm just feeding it through the little holes that were on the front so that I can close it up and my friend can close it up when she's not using it. And I pulled out a quote here from Essence, which is the magazine I use to pull some pages out of for the journal pages. And that quote at the front of the magazine, or was it the back? I guess it was the last page of the magazine. I really like that quote for the front cover of the journal, so I cut it out and just glued it in the front there. Does anybody else have this much trouble, like recording voiceovers and getting videos to download and upload and getting edits together? Is this just because I'm still getting used to the whole process, or am I doing something wrong, or is this just how it works? Is it because I'm old? I'm a little old. So am I just not, is this process just not as intuitive for me as it would be if I were, 20 or something? I mean, that's probably true, but I'm pretty good at learning stuff, you know? And while this has been, an extreme learning process here for me, I'm enjoying learning how to do new things, especially since it's something that I want to do as opposed to just being something I'm forced to do because it's work or, you know, life stuff that I suddenly have to take care of, which I wasn't expecting to take care of. This feels like really positive and good. And it's not that thing where, yeah, suddenly you have to learn how to do a bunch of stuff that you weren't considering you'd have to do before. You weren't thinking you'd have to do, or weren't thinking you'd have to do by the time you actually have to do it. And it feels like a pain while you're in the middle of it. And then to kind of move on from it and see the bright side, you say, well, okay, at least I've done it. I know how to do it now. I got through it. I made it. It doesn't feel like that. Like I'm actually enjoying learning how to, like, learning the editing software and how to do voiceovers and how to record videos and all that kind of stuff. I just wish, and I've only done like, I think I've posted like 7 videos or something like that now, so not that many. But I guess there's a part of me that kind of thought it would be even more intuitive by now and easier. Oh well, it is what it is, right? You got to start somewhere. And I'm already further along than I was 2 months ago or a month and a half ago, whenever it was I started posting videos. And of course, I don't remember specifically when it was that I started posting videos without looking, because you know what I did this morning? I had to call and reschedule my bug guy to come in and spray, and they asked for my address. I got my address wrong. And I told the woman I had just woken up, but that was not true. I lied because it was very embarrassing that I got my house number wrong. I like mixed the numbers up. How does that happen? That has never happened to me before. Either something is very wrong with me. Well, I did have a lot of sugar yesterday and a lot of gluten. And those are two things I'm trying to cut down on. But I had a whole apple fritter yesterday and I ate the whole thing almost in one sitting. So maybe that's what the problem was. Maybe that's what did it to me. But I've forgotten a lot of things over the past few years because of various health issues. I have never forgotten my address or my phone number, actually. So, first time for everything. Hopefully, that won't be happening again. Because if it happens again, who knows what else I'm going to forget? This is why it's good to keep learning stuff. I read somewhere that if you keep learning and doing new things, something that happens is your brain actually forms new pathways and stuff, and it helps stave off, dementia and all other kinds of mental decline or whatever. So I'm hoping that doing these videos and learning how to make journals and doing collage and art journaling and all this other kind of stuff, all those learning processes, I'm hoping that all of that stuff is actually helping to make me just a mentally a better and stronger human. And then when something happens where I forget my address, and I've been in this house for 18 years. 18 years I've been in this house. It's the first time I've ever forgotten my address. It was a little more than a little bit jarring, I have to say. But again, I'm dealing with it. I'm working through it. I'm here now re-recording this voiceover so I can hopefully finally get this video edited and at least in the process of downloading and then uploading to YouTube before Tuesday. Before Tuesday. This is Monday right now. Thank God I have Mondays off work. It's bad enough I have to take Shakes to the vet later. I really wish I could go 0 places today. I'm feeling a little, well, it doesn't help that it was raining earlier and it stormed really, really badly overnight to the point where there's like branches down and all kinds of leaves and stuff littering the street. But it rains and you just kind of want to feel cozy and in the house and not deal with it. Life is just a lot sometimes, right? Okay, well I got the journal done. Look at this. Look at this. I'm feeling quite happy about it too. I got the closure. I also put together some envelopes of stickers and like page markers for my friend. And there's this little message on the back here. Um, and oh, one of the other things I did, you saw me with the envelope there that I put on the inside, just with some additional paper, blank paper for her to write on if she needs more space to write on. Um, the back of the envelope says best wishes to you, which is nice. But the second part is kind of in broken English. So I just took some of the washi tape that I used earlier to cover up the staples on the inside of each signature to cover that up. And this is done. This is done. And it was a really easy process. I'm going to use the template I made of this envelope to make more of them. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.